Hi, I'm Wanda from Alanda Craft, and today we're going to take a look at the Sculpfun S30 10-watt laser machine. We'll show you what it looks like, and we'll make some projects using both fabric and a variety of other materials. Now, this machine may look a little complicated, but it works very much like a Cricut scan and cut or silhouette machine, the difference being that it cuts with a laser and not a blade. You simply plug the machine into your computer using the blue USB cord, and the black cord goes to the power. And you use software to connect the machine and tell it what to do. Now, the first thing that we decided to test was to cut applique. So I've already ironed on some applique adhesive to the back of this fabric, and I've also removed the backing sheet from it. I then placed it onto a honeycomb grid, but you can also use a cookie cooling rack, which is what we sometimes use. You need to do this when cutting, as it helps to protect the work surface, and it also helps to stop burning on the back of the fabric. So what we need to do is adjust the laser head. So simply undo the screws on the back of the laser head, and then you'll bring in your spacer and just adjust the head, lift it up and then rest it on the spacer, and then tighten up the screws again. Now this means that the head is the right distance from your fabric. Now we bring our file into the software, and we use LIGHTBURN, which we highly recommend. It's free for 30 days and then it has a one-off fee to use. So I've bought in an SVG file and I'm going to resize it. Now you can do this by dragging from the corner, or else you can come up and you can just select the size of the design that you want and you just key it in here, and the width and the height will automatically adjust. Now you come over to the layers panel, and I want to cut this, so I want it to be on line, and because we want to cut around the edge, we don't want to just engrave or fill in. And then we want to set the speed and the power. So we open this panel, but the only two things, it looks complicated, but the only two things you need to think about are the speed and the power. And so what I've done is I worked those out beforehand by doing some tests, and we found that 80 speed and 80 power worked really well for this design and for this material. So then we need to have the output show and air selected, and then hit the frame button. Okay, so now the machine will frame around the material, and this gives you time to see where exactly it sits, and you can make your adjustments here if you need to move the machine over. Once you've got it in the place you want it, you just press start and away it goes, and it will start cutting out the material. Now you can do the framing as often as you like till you get it right. Now this machine also has air assist, and it basically provides a stream of air pressure which helps to cool the material and prevent heat damage to the fabric or whatever material you're using, and it also clears away any debris or smoke. Now you can see how beautifully that's cut. It looks great, so it's all ready to be put onto your project, and that's what the back looks like. So now we're going to do something a little more intricate. Again, it's fabric with applique material on the back, and we have removed the backing piece. And this design is from Creative Fabrica. They have lots of amazing designs. And you can see just how nicely the machine is cutting around the design. So we'll just move it out of the way and lift our fabric. Now it does tend to catch just a little bit on the edges because this has got the adhesive backing on it, so it does melt a little bit, but it doesn't affect your design in any way. Okay, so we'll just pop it off the mat there, and you can see how beautifully that's cut. And of course we'll take all the extra bits out, and there you are. It does a wonderful job for applique. So let's try some fabric just on its own. This is quilting cotton, and we're using the same design as we used with the applique at the very first, but and this time it's simply the fabric. And you can see it's done a really, really nice job. So we'll just lift up the excess. So I was really surprised at how well this just cut quilting cotton. So, I mean, it's amazing. Use it for cutting your quilting blocks. So there we are, and there's the back, and you can see no burning, no smoke, just lovely. So we thought, let's decorate a pair of jeans, and that's what we're doing. So we're engraving on the pocket, and we got the design from Creative Fabrica. Now when you're doing engraving, you don't need the honeycomb grid. You just lay your material flat onto your surface and make sure it's flat. Okay, and all nicely smoothed out. You can see it's doing a beautiful job. Okay, so we're just taking that top layer off to create the effect. And then you can see it hasn't burnt right through, because that's what we didn't want. We don't want it to burn through the material, because then it would just tear. Now this is a stretch fabric, and when you stretch it out, you can see there it's not tearing. The design's sitting nicely. So now we're going to make a cushion cover. So I've cut up these old jeans into 7-inch squares, and they're roughly cut because I will be trimming them back to 6.5 inches. Now on each of the black pieces I'm putting a design from Creative Fabrica. I'm putting these butterflies. So 5 of the squares will have butterflies on them. And I'm going to make a zippered cushion cover, and if you want to know how to do that, I will put a link in the description below. But here we are, the design is done and it's really nice and it hasn't burnt through. And here you can see the designs on each of the squares. So as I say, I will sew these together, and there you can see the completed cushion, and it has a zippered back. Now the next thing we're going to try is some cardstock, and as you can see we've taped it down onto the honeycomb grid so that it doesn't move around while it's being cut. We selected a really fine design to see just how good this laser is at cutting fine detail, and as you can see it's doing a beautiful job. Now the images from Creative Fabrica, and it's full of really fine detail. Now it's pretty amazing what this laser can do. Alright, so we'll just lift off the excess and pick up the design, and just think you can put this onto a card or use in your scrapbooking. It could be glued onto a card or just built up with some dimensionals. Look at that, look how fine that's cut. That is really, really amazing. Now this is a design we've been wanting to cut out for quite some time. It's actually Jesus on the cross, and the design cut out beautifully. So you can see that the laser is doing a really, really nice job. So that's the base of the design. It is cut out in 2 pieces. Now with the second piece we're cutting out the face of Jesus. Now this material that we're using came in a pack with the Sculpfun. So it's like a plywood by the look of it, or basswood. Okay, you can see it cuts out very intricate detail and it's looking really, really great. So what I'll do is once it's finished, which it is now, and we'll just pop it out. Just be gentle with your projects. Okay, so now those 2 pieces fit together, and what you do is I've painted it. I painted it with Distress ink, with Tim Holtz Distress ink. This is Vintage Photo. You could make it darker if you wish by using black soot. But then once you've done the top layer, you can glue it to the bottom layer. So now what we're going to do is we're going to engrave on a piece of aluminium. Now we had a piece on hand in our stock, and we thought, well, we'll give it a go. And you can see how beautifully this machine is engraving. So we got the design from Creative Fabrica, and they have a lot of wonderful designs, and we use them all the time for our projects. Okay, so now it's finished engraving, so just push it out of the way. So there we are. Beware of the dog, and don't trust the cat either. I thought that was rather cute. It does a beautiful job. Really loving this machine. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut out some earrings. Now this is a piece of, I do believe it's balsa wood that we had sitting in our stash, and the designs are all from Creative Fabrica. Now we have the material set up on the cookie cooling rack because we are cutting and we don't want to burn the underside of our material. The air assist helps with this. It keeps everything nice and clean so you don't get anything even on the underneath. So I do like the idea of the air assist. Now this particular pair that we're doing at the moment are actually engraved and then cut. So you can do, either a cutout design or you can do an engraved and cut out design. So, and once you've finished your earrings, you just pop some loops into the holes at the top and you've got earrings ready to go. And you can dress them up as you like. You can paint them to match an outfit. So there we are. There's our earrings all hung up, ready to go. Now this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. This is a playing card holder, and actually even if you don't want it yourself, you could make these for gifts for your card playing friends. It holds a deck of cards, and the first thing we're doing is we've done the engraving on the outside, and now the machine is cutting out the different pieces. Now I have to say that the person who made this file did an excellent job. It all slots together beautifully. So once the machine is finished cutting, it's simply a matter of assembling the holder together. And as I say, the machine's doing a beautiful job. Right, so we'll just finish there and take out the bits. There is a photo that comes with the file that shows you how to put it together. But I glued it with tiger glue, which is quite strong, and I just think it needed that. But isn't that delightful? Now, I'd just like to thank Sculpfun for sending us their machine to review and to have a play with. We absolutely love it. It's a really sturdy machine and it cuts fine work beautifully on cardstock and everything else that we tried. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up. It helps our channel. And don't forget to go over to the website and you'll get all of the settings that you need to do each of these projects. So thank you for watching. We'll catch you next time.